Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to share my final project with you today. The title of my project is Female Roles and Influences in Central Asia Music After the Soviet Era, the Cases of Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. I chose this topic because earlier in our class, we learned about Tajik traditional dance, and that inspired me to look deeper into women's cultural roles in Central Asia. I realized that women hold a very unique social status in this region. So I became interested in how women participate in and influence music in Central Asia. There is the map of Central Asia. Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan are two neighboring countries that have some similar historical and cultural backgrounds. Those two countries were both important regions along the Silk Road. They share Turkic cultural roots and have common Islamic traditions. In the 20th century, they shared political histories under the Soviet Union. However, the female who engaged in music in those two countries have different situations in the post-Soviet era. My main research questions are what was the social status of women in Central Asia before the Soviet era? How did the Soviet gender policies influence female roles and social status in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan? How did women impact and change the regional situations in those two countries? How were female roles and impacts in the music sphere categorized in those two countries? My project has four parts. The first part is introduction. In this section, I would like to introduce females' history background in those two countries and how did the Soviet policies impact their role and social status. The second part is females' roles in those two countries. According to my bibliography, I am going to introduce how women influenced the field of music in those two countries. The third part is comparisons. In this section, I want to explore the differences and reasons between those two countries in terms of women's participation in the field of music by combining their historical and cultural backgrounds. In the last part, I plan to conclude my discoveries. Next, I would like to introduce the main bibliography for my study. The first article is Why Women Sing, Female Performers from Central Asian Traditional Societies by Sultanova. This article, through the depiction of several Uzbek female singers, demonstrates how they have broken through in the interplay between tradition and modernity. My next reference are several chapters in Merchant's book, Women Musicians of Uzbekistan, From Courtyard to Conservatory. This book systematically discusses the changes in the social status of women in Uzbekistan and how they have played a role in the field of music. The following article is The Energy of Female Music, Gender Statistics, and Cultural Prerequisites for Gender Equality Among Kazakh Composers. This article mainly elaborates on the role of female composers from Kazakhstan in the field of music through detailed comparisons based on data analysis, ethnomusicology, and interviews. This article focuses on exploring the specific features of women's musical creativity in Kazakh society and and traces its evolution over the past century. She noted the remarkable freedom and public activity of Kazakh women compared to women in other Islamic societies. Her study based on a three-stage study. This is the first stage, which based on data analysis, and the second stage based on some ethnomusicology. The third stage based on some interviews with her participants. The next article is Gender in Kazakh Dombra Performance by Dorkieva. This article mainly takes the perspective of female Dombra players to present the role and function of women in the music society of Kazakhstan. In this article, the author maintained that because of their unique historical cultural background, there was no pronounced religious or social suppression of either women's engagement in instrumental music or professional practicing of music in public in general. Next, I will play for you a video of the performance by Alkambayeva, a renowned female Dombra player from Kazakhstan who was introduced in this article. In the next part of my study, I plan to compare different situations in those two countries and try to find the reasons behind their differences. In the last part, I will conclude my discoveries. In general, all of scholars agree that the Soviet-era gender policies promoted gender equality in terms of education and professions. Although improving the social status of women was not the sole purpose of those policies, they played a positive role in promoting the gender equality, thereby enhancing the social status of women as a whole. This is my bibliography. Thank you for your time and listening.